Fire your excuses or chains. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you add another link. Every time you blame your situation, your boss, your energy, or your past, you tighten those chains. And every time you give yourself permission to delay, you trade your power for weakness. The hard truth is this: excuses are not harmless. Excuses are the silent killers of discipline, habits, and success. If you keep feeding them, you will stay exactly where you are, no matter how badly you say you want to grow. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you would wake up early and you didn't? How many times did you say you would start the project after lunch and it became another lost day? How many times did you look at your dream and whisper, "Someday," while that dream drifted further away? Those moments are not random. They are the architecture of your life. Your future is being built not by your goals but by your excuses. Backhand index pointing right, and here is the question you must face: are you building a future of strength or a future of delay? Because discipline does not care about what you intended. Discipline only respects what you actually do. Most people never realize that excuses disguise themselves as comfort. They whisper to you, "Rest today, you'll work harder tomorrow." They tell you, "This isn't the right time, just wait until conditions improve." They say, "You're not ready yet, give it more thought." And because those excuses sound logical, you accept them. But while you are waiting for the perfect conditions, your opportunity is dying. Excuses are seductive because they make failure feel justified. They give you a story to hide behind. You convince yourself that it was traffic, or the weather, or your boss, or your schedule. But deep down you know it wasn't any of those things. It was you. It was the decision to protect comfort instead of progress. The cost of excuses is invisible at first. You don't see it in a single missed day. You don't feel it when you say just this once. But over weeks, months, and years, those excuses stack like bricks, and they build a wall between you and success. Every excuse you repeat becomes a habit, and every habit becomes your identity. Before long, you're not just someone who makes excuses. You are someone defined by them. Here is the truth most people never accept: success is not about motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are fragile. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. If you build your life around waiting for motivation, you will live in cycles of bursts and collapses. One week you are on fire, the next week you are stuck in a swamp of excuses. That is why so many people start strong in January and quit by February. The opposite of excuses is not motivation. The opposite of excuses is discipline. Discipline is the decision you make regardless of how you feel. It is the voice that says, "I don't care if you're tired, I don't care if you're scared, I don't care if you don't feel ready, do it anyway." Discipline is the foundation of habits. Habits are the engines of success. And once your habits are set, your life will follow them automatically. This is the law: your excuses keep you chained, but your discipline sets you free. So how do you break the cycle? You don't wait for the perfect mood. You don't wait for the right moment. You train yourself to act in spite of excuses. Here is how. Awareness first. Catch yourself in the moment of making an excuse. Don't let it slide by unnoticed. If you hear yourself say, "I'll do it tomorrow," stop. That phrase is poison. Replace it with discipline. Instead of saying, "I'll start tomorrow," say, "I'll start now, even if it's messy." Instead of "I'm not ready," say, "I'll learn as I go." Instead of "I don't have time," say, "I will make time." Anchor your habits. Don't leave your actions to chance. Tie them to daily triggers. Wake up and write down the one action you must complete today, no excuses. At lunch, repeat your commitment to discipline. Before bed, check if you followed through. Shrink the resistance. Excuses grow in the face of big, intimidating goals. Break the goal into a single step. Don't promise you'll write the book. Promise you'll write one page. Don't promise you'll run a marathon. Promise you'll run for 10 minutes. The smaller the step, the weaker the excuse. Build the identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you are voting for a new identity. One where you are no longer a victim of excuses, but a person of discipline. Repeat those votes daily until the identity is permanent. Lightbulbs say it out loud, no more excuses. Discipline is my path. Habits are my foundation. Success is inevitable. Comment below, I choose discipline if you are done letting excuses define you. Every word you type is a declaration to yourself and to the world. Push pin and remember to subscribe and hit the bell, because every day we are building a new standard of life, one without excuses, one built on the discipline and habits that guarantee success. Backhand index pointing right. Your future is not waiting. It is being built in this moment. And the choice is yours: keep feeding excuses, or start building success. Fire. Every excuse you make is a decision. You may think it is just a delay, just a pause, just a small reason for waiting. But in reality, every excuse is a choice to stay the same. You don't drift into success. You don't stumble into discipline. You decide. And the decision is always hidden inside the moment where an excuse appears. You know the moment. You said you would wake up early, but the alarm rings and your excuse says, 5 more minutes. You promised yourself to finish the report, but distraction whispers, check your phone first. You wanted to start the workout, but your mind offers, do it tomorrow. That is the battlefield. That is where futures are won or lost. Backhand index pointing right. Ask yourself, how many times have you chosen the excuse instead of the action? Excuses don't look dangerous because they feel soft. They come dressed as kindness. Rest now, you deserve it. They sound logical. It's not the right time, wait until you're ready. They seem harmless. It's just one day. But add those days together, and you'll see a pattern of delay. The problem is that excuses steal silently. You don't see the damage immediately. One missed day doesn't destroy you. But when one missed day becomes a habit, you create a new identity. You start to believe you are someone who can't follow through. That identity seeps into everything: your health, your relationships, your work. Excuses build comfort in the short term but cost freedom in the long term. Comfort today, regret tomorrow. Excuses protect you from discomfort now but rob you of success later. And if you don't break the cycle, you will live your whole life almost starting but never arriving. Here is the truth: you will never feel ready. Waiting for motivation is the biggest trap. Motivation is like a guest who shows up late, leaves early, and can't be trusted. If you depend on it, your progress will be unstable. Successful people don't win because they always feel motivated. They win because they built the habit of acting without asking permission from their feelings. They know that discipline is not a mood. Discipline is a choice. The law of success is simple: if you only act when you feel like it, you will never build consistency. If you act regardless of how you feel, consistency builds you. So how do you fight excuses in the real world? You replace the lie of "I don't feel like it" with the truth of "I choose to act." Here is how. Catch the moment of choice. When you hear the excuse forming, pause. Recognize that this is not a harmless thought. This is the decision point that will shape your future. Shrink the decision. Don't argue with the excuse. Don't debate it. Just take one small action. If you don't want to work out, put on your shoes. If you don't want to write, open the document. Action kills excuses faster than thought. Reframe discomfort. Instead of saying, "This is hard," say, "This is how I grow." Your brain is trained to avoid pain. You must retrain it to see discomfort as proof of progress. Anchor to identity. Every time you act, even when you don't feel like it, say to yourself, "This is who I am. I am disciplined." Identity grows through repetition. The more you say it, the more you believe it, the more you live it. Build momentum. Excuses feed on hesitation. The longer you wait, the stronger they get. The sooner you move, the weaker they become. Don't wait. Act now. Lightbulbs say it out loud: I choose action over excuses. I choose discipline over delay. I choose progress over comfort. Comment below, I choose action if you are done waiting for motivation. Push pin subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a daily reset. Because every day you will face the same choice, excuses or action. And every day you choose action, you are building the life that excuses could never give you. Backhand index pointing right. Remember, excuses will always knock, but only you decide if they enter. From today forward, the answer is no. Fire. You say you want success, but the truth is you often wait for a perfect wave of motivation to carry you forward. You wake up and hope to feel inspired, but when that feeling doesn't come, you surrender to delay. This is where most people stay stuck. They believe action is something that should feel good first, something that should come wrapped in energy and excitement. But that belief is the very reason they never break through. Success is not about how you feel in the moment. Success is about what you decide in the moment. When the alarm rings, when the temptation whispers, when the excuse starts forming, that is the battlefield where discipline is either chosen or abandoned. You can either step forward despite resistance or you can step back and repeat the same cycle. Every excuse you accept today builds the identity of someone who avoids responsibility. Every action you take today, even the smallest, builds the identity of someone who owns responsibility. That is why habits matter so much. Habits are not random actions. Habits are proof of who you believe you are. If you see yourself as disciplined, you act like it. If you see yourself as a drifter, you act like it. You cannot escape this law. You are always voting for your identity with your choices. And if you keep waiting to feel ready, you are voting for weakness. You are handing your future to chance. Here is the reversal you must accept. Discipline is not something you wait to feel. Discipline is something you decide to live. You are not a prisoner of your moods. You are not at the mercy of your feelings. You are the master of your choices, and those choices can be made even when you don't feel like it. The strongest people you admire are not fearless. They are not constantly motivated. They are people who decided to act regardless. They built the habit of moving before hesitation had time to grow. They trained themselves to take action in the gap where excuses try to slip in. That is why they succeed where others stall. So how do you train yourself to live this way? You begin by noticing the moment an excuse arrives. Awareness is your first weapon. When your mind whispers, "Do it later," you must catch it in the act. Name it. Say to yourself, "That is an excuse." By shining a light on it, you strip it of its disguise. The second weapon is action. Do not argue with excuses. Do not negotiate. Negotiation gives them power. Action ends their life. Take one small step forward immediately. If you don't want to run, put on your shoes and walk outside. If you don't want to study, open the book and read one page. Small actions break big excuses. The third weapon is repetition. Excuses thrive in inconsistency. When you act once, they wait for you tomorrow. But when you act again and again, you retrain your mind. Each repetition builds the identity of someone who does not wait, someone who does not bend to feelings, someone who acts. And here is a powerful truth: every time you keep a promise to yourself, you deposit strength into your mental account. That account grows interest. Over time, it becomes a fortress of discipline. You begin to trust yourself because you no longer break your own word. Confidence is nothing more than the memory of discipline. If you keep failing to act, your mind remembers and labels you unreliable. If you keep following through, your mind remembers and labels you unstoppable. Which memory do you want to build? Now is the moment to declare it. Say it with conviction: no more waiting, no more hesitation, no more excuses. Discipline is my standard. Habits are my weapon. Action is my proof. You must say it, you must own it, and then you must live it. The choice is in front of you right now. Excuse or action. Delay or discipline. Comfort or growth. Decide who you are and prove it with your behavior today. Lightbulb comment below: I live discipline to seal your decision in public, because every time you declare it, you strengthen it. Pushpin subscribe and hit the bell so you never slip back into drift. This is the reset you need, the reminder that your future is built not on words but on action. From this moment forward, excuses lose their grip. You have chosen a life of discipline, a life of habits that guarantee success. Fire discipline without structure is fragile. You can wake up one day fired up with energy, but if there is no system to carry that fire into consistent behavior, it dies before nightfall. That is why so many people start strong and fade quickly. They rely on bursts of willpower, but willpower is like a match, it burns bright for a moment and then disappears. What you need is not more matches. What you need is a furnace. A furnace is built with structure, with habits stacked one on top of another, with routines that keep burning even when motivation is gone. You already know what it feels like to drift. You wake up with vague intentions, you let the day push you around, you hope you'll find time for your priorities, but by evening all you've done is fight fires that weren't yours. That is life without structure. It is chaos disguised as normal. It keeps you reactive instead of proactive. It keeps you running in circles instead of building momentum. And deep down you know this is true because every time you try to change your life with raw effort, you eventually collapse back into old patterns. The reason is not that you're weak. The reason is that you never installed the architecture that makes discipline automatic. Here is the reversal you must accept: success is not built on big efforts once in a while. Success is built on small disciplined actions repeated so many times they no longer require debate. Structure is freedom. Habits are power. Routines are the hidden rails that carry you toward your goals without draining your energy every step of the way. Think about it. When you brush your teeth, you don't negotiate with yourself. You don't say, "Do I feel like it today?" You just do it because it's part of who you are. That's the level you must reach with the habits that matter for your success. So how do you turn discipline into structure? You begin with anchors. Choose a simple action that becomes the trigger for everything else. Wake up and immediately drink a glass of water. That small act is not about hydration. It is about signaling to your brain that the day has begun with intention. Tie your workout clothes to your alarm. When the alarm rings, the clothes are there waiting. No decision, no debate. Link your writing session to your morning coffee. Coffee means words on paper. No excuses, no delay. These anchors transform vague intentions into automatic actions. Next, you must stack your habits. Don't try to change 10 things at once. That is the fastest way to fail. Pick one habit and attach another to it. If you already have the habit of brushing your teeth, stack 1 minute of affirmations right after. If you already drink coffee, stack 5 minutes of journaling with it. Stacking habits removes the friction of decision. You're already doing one thing, so adding another is natural. Over time, these stacks form chains, and those chains are stronger than your excuses. Then, shrink the scope but increase the consistency. Don't commit to reading 50 pages a day. Commit to 2 pages but never miss. Don't promise an hour of workouts if you can't sustain it. Promise 10 minutes and do it daily. The secret is that consistency compounds. Once the habit is established, you can expand it. But if you chase big numbers without rhythm, you will break down. Small consistent habits beat large inconsistent efforts every time. Finally, protect your structure with rituals. Morning rituals set your state. Evening rituals close your day. Without them, life invades your focus and steals your energy. Create boundaries for your mind. Begin the morning with a statement: I live by discipline, not by excuses. End the night with reflection: did I honor my habits today? These rituals are guardrails. They remind you that you are building, not drifting. Now you must declare it. No more living on bursts. No more collapsing back into chaos. You are building a system, a structure, a furnace that will burn no matter how you feel. Say it: I live with structure. I stack habits that shape my destiny. I am consistent even when it's uncomfortable. I will not drift. Lightbulb comment below: I build my structure if you are ready to anchor your life in habits that last. Push pin subscribe and hit the bell so every day you are reminded that this path is not built on luck or chance. It is built on structure, on discipline, on the habits that guarantee success. Fire. You have lived long enough telling yourself stories that justify delay. The excuse has become so natural that you no longer notice when it appears. It disguises itself as logic, as kindness, as caution. But the truth is, every excuse is a betrayal of your potential. Every excuse is a quiet surrender to weakness. And if you want to break free, you must first kill the identity of someone who accepts excuses. Because as long as you see yourself as the kind of person who delays, you will always return to delay. Identity is the cage, and discipline is the key that breaks it. You might believe your habits are random, but they are not. They are reflections of how you see yourself. If you see yourself as someone who can never follow through, you live that out daily. If you see yourself as someone who is disciplined, you live that too. And here is the catch: you do not need to wait until you feel disciplined to become disciplined. You simply need to act disciplined long enough until your mind has no choice but to accept this new identity. The reversal is this: most people think they need belief first and action second. They believe identity comes before habit. They think confidence will appear before consistency. But it is always the other way around. Belief follows behavior. Identity follows repeated action. Confidence is the memory of promises you kept. If you want to be someone who never accepts excuses, you cannot talk your way there. You must act your way there. Every action against an excuse is a vote for your new self. Every time you reject the thought later and replace it with now, you carve a new identity, one cut deeper than words. So here is what you must do. When the excuse arrives, don't fight it with debate. Fight it with movement. If your mind says you are too tired to start, move your body anyway. If your thoughts say you are not ready, do one step anyway. If you hear yourself saying you will wait for the right time, choose to begin in the wrong time. That is how you train your brain to see excuses as weakness and action as truth. Over time, this becomes automatic. Excuses lose their voice because you have stopped listening. To make this permanent, you need rituals that remind you of who you are. Begin your morning with a declaration: I do not wait. I do not delay. I live by discipline. Carry that statement into your first action of the day. Keep your word in small things. If you promise to read 2 pages, read them. If you promise to run 10 minutes, run them. If you promise to finish one task before bed, finish it. These small victories are bricks. Brick by brick, you build the house of your new identity. The person who never lets excuses live in their mind. The person who is unstoppable not because they are fearless, but because they act anyway. And you must protect this identity. Excuses will return in new disguises. They will sound like logic. They will sound like compassion. But you must train yourself to ask one question every time: does this thought move me closer or hold me back? If it holds you back, it is an excuse. And if it is an excuse, it does not belong in your head. Replace it immediately with a stronger thought and an action that proves it. Say it now and mean it: no more excuses. I am not a prisoner of delay. I am disciplined. I am a person of habits that guarantee success. This is not a hope. This is not a wish. This is my identity, and I will live it out today. Lightbulb comment below: I destroy excuses to seal this identity. Push pin subscribe and hit the bell because this journey is not about temporary motivation. It is about rewiring who you are, breaking the chains of excuse, and living as the disciplined person your future demands. Fire. Chaos will always test you. Life will never hand you perfect conditions. There will always be noise, distractions, emergencies, unexpected demands pulling at your focus. Most people wait for things to calm down before they commit to discipline, but that day never comes. The world will never stop spinning, so if you keep waiting for peace before you act, you will drift forever. The truth is, you must learn to build discipline inside the storm. You must learn to be steady when everything around you shakes. Think about the times you gave up. It wasn't always because the task was impossible. It was because something disrupted your rhythm. You had a plan, but an interruption arrived and you let it throw you off. You told yourself you would start again tomorrow, and tomorrow became next week. Chaos doesn't destroy your potential. Excuses born in chaos destroy your potential. You believe that disorder gave you permission to stop. That is the lie you must kill today. Here is the reversal you must accept: discipline is not proven when things are easy. Discipline is proven when things are messy. Anyone can act when life is smooth. Few can act when life is hard. And that is why discipline in chaos becomes your competitive edge. The storm is not the enemy. The storm is the training ground. Every time you keep moving through it, you sharpen your edge, you harden your identity, and you prove to yourself that nothing external can control your internal command. So how do you master discipline in chaos? First, shrink your focus. When your day explodes with problems, don't try to win the whole war at once. Win the next 5 minutes. Do the single action you promised yourself. Even in chaos you can take one step, and one step is proof that you are in control. Second, protect anchors. Build non-negotiables that survive any storm. Maybe it's your morning reflection, maybe it's your evening review. No matter what interrupts your schedule, those anchors never move. They remind you that you live by choice, not by circumstance. Third, train response instead of reaction. Chaos tempts you to panic, to lash out, to quit. You must pause, breathe, and ask, what is the next right step? That small pause is the gap where discipline lives. And you must repeat this daily. Chaos will return tomorrow and the day after. Each time it does, you have an opportunity to grow stronger. Discipline in calm is practice. Discipline in chaos is mastery. The more storms you face, the more unshakable you become, until eventually you no longer wait for conditions. You create your own order in any environment. Say it with conviction: I do not need peace to be disciplined. I do not need silence to stay focused. I can act in chaos, I can hold my standards when everything shakes, I can live disciplined no matter what the world throws at me. Lightbulb comment below: I rise in chaos to declare that you will no longer surrender to disorder. Pushpin subscribe and hit the bell, because every day we face storms together, and every day we build the discipline to rise above them. From now on you are not waiting for the storm to pass. You are becoming the kind of person who moves forward in the storm, unshakable, unstoppable, unbreakable. Fire the world is loud. Every notification, every opinion, every headline is fighting to occupy your mind. You wake up and before you even move, your phone is already shaping your thoughts. By the time you drink your coffee, the outside world has already stolen your focus. And then you wonder why your day feels scattered, why your energy feels drained, why your goals keep sliding into tomorrow. The truth is simple: you have surrendered control of your attention. If you cannot command your focus, you cannot command your life. Excuses thrive in this noise. When you are flooded by outside voices, you use them as justification. You say you didn't have time because the world was too busy. You say you couldn't focus because there was too much distraction. But those are not reasons. Those are excuses. The noise did not steal your discipline. You gave it away. You chose to let every sound enter your mind without a filter. And if you continue like this, you will live your entire life reacting instead of creating. Here is the reversal you must accept: discipline is not just about controlling what you do. Discipline is about controlling what you allow in. Focus is not something you find. Focus is something you guard. You don't wait for silence to appear. You create silence by choosing what deserves your attention and rejecting everything else. This is the law of mental ownership: if you don't choose your inputs, you are surrendering your future to random noise. So what is the path? First, you must set boundaries. The first hour of your day belongs to you, not the world. Do not start it with scrolling, with messages, with other people's problems. Begin it with your own vision. Write, move, reflect. Protect that hour like your life depends on it, because it does. Second, create filters. Every time new information comes to you, ask, does this strengthen me or weaken me? If it weakens, cut it out. Third, practice single-task discipline. Stop splitting your attention into fragments. Pick one action, give it everything, and finish it. Excuses multiply when you multitask. They die when you finish what you start. And finally, feed your mind intentionally. Read what builds you, listen to voices that strengthen you, speak words to yourself that sharpen you. Your mind is soil, and noise is weeds. If you do not plant seeds on purpose, weeds will take over. Choose what grows inside you. Choose clarity over chaos. Choose discipline over distraction. Say it now with power, I am the master of my focus. I guard my mind. I reject the noise. I choose clarity. I choose discipline. No more excuses. Lightbulb comment below. I guard my focus to declare that you will no longer let the world dictate your attention. Push pin subscribe and hit the bell so you build a community of focus and strength. Remember, the outside world will always be loud, but your inner command can always be louder. From today forward, you choose silence over noise, action over reaction, and discipline over excuses. Fire success is not built on giant leaps. Success is built on small steps repeated until they become unstoppable momentum. Most people ignore this truth because they are addicted to dramatic change. They want the overnight transformation, the huge breakthrough, the sudden explosion of progress. But those moments are rare. What creates them is invisible, the micro wins you stack day after day. If you want to guarantee success, stop searching for miracles and start collecting proof. Every small promise you keep is proof. Every time you do what you said you would do, no matter how tiny, you send a message to your brain, I can trust myself. And that message is priceless. Because when you trust yourself, you move faster. When you move faster, you build momentum. When you build momentum, you become unstoppable. The problem is you often dismiss these small wins. You say, it's only 10 minutes, or it's just one page, or it doesn't matter. But it does. Every win is a deposit into your confidence account, and those deposits compound. Ignore them and you stay broke. Stack them and you become wealthy in self-belief. Here is the reversal: motivation does not create action. Action creates motivation. You do not wait until you feel powerful to move. You move, and that movement generates power. The tiniest action is stronger than the biggest intention. Write one line, and suddenly you feel like writing more. Do one push-up, and suddenly you feel like pushing further. Small wins light the fire. Big excuses cannot survive when the fire is burning. So what is the path? Start ridiculously small. If you keep failing at big promises, shrink them. Commit to reading 2 pages instead of 20. Commit to 5 minutes of exercise instead of an hour. The key is not the size, the key is the consistency. Once the habit is locked in, you can grow it naturally. Next, celebrate every win. Don't dismiss it. Acknowledge it. Say to yourself, I did what I said I would do. That recognition reinforces your identity as disciplined. Then, track your progress. Write down your daily wins, no matter how small. Seeing them accumulate builds undeniable proof that you are moving forward. And when you face resistance, remind yourself, I do not need to conquer the whole mountain today. I only need to take the next step. One step is always possible. One step builds momentum. One step destroys excuses. Keep stacking steps, and before you realize it, you will look back and see how far you have climbed. Say it with strength, I will not ignore small wins. I will stack them. I will celebrate them. I will use them to crush excuses and build unstoppable momentum. Lightbulb comment below. I stack wins if you are ready to start collecting proof instead of waiting for miracles. Push pin subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss the daily push that reminds you, every step counts, every win matters, every moment is a chance to build momentum. From today forward, your small wins will not be invisible. They will be the foundation of the habits that guarantee your success. Fire weak thoughts never arrive loudly. They creep in quietly, repeating the same sentences until you mistake them for truth. I'm not ready. This is too hard. I'll start later. Before you know it, those words spiral into a storm. One thought leads to another, and suddenly you're drowning in doubt. That spiral steals hours, days, even years. And yet here is the truth: a spiral only controls you if you allow it to keep spinning. The moment you interrupt it with action, it dies. You have lived this cycle. A small trigger, maybe a mistake, maybe a delay, sparks a thought. That thought multiplies, dragging memories of past failures, fears of the future, comparisons to others. Before long, you are not dealing with one problem. You are fighting an army of imagined problems. And instead of acting, you freeze. You wait. You justify. You feed the spiral until it owns you. That is how excuses are born. Excuses are nothing more than thought spirals dressed as logic. Here is the reversal you must accept: you do not think your way out of a spiral. You act your way out. The mind loves to replay the loop because it feels familiar. But familiarity is not truth. Familiarity is programming. If you want to break free, you must interrupt the pattern. The moment you notice the spiral starting, you must choose movement. Action is the reset button. Action tells your brain, we are not staying here. So how do you disrupt the loop? First, catch the first thought. Don't let it grow into 10. The first whisper of doubt is the easiest to crush. Name it. Say, that's an excuse. Second, take a physical action. Stand up, move, breathe deeply, write one line, do one push-up. It doesn't matter what, just move. Physical action pulls you out of mental paralysis. Third, replace the script. Write a new sentence, short and sharp. Instead of "I can't do this," say, "I'll figure it out." Instead of "this is too hard," say, "hard means growth." Repetition rewires the loop. And fourth, return to the task immediately. Don't allow a pause long enough for the spiral to restart. Keep your hands busy, keep your focus active. The key is not perfection. The key is interruption. Each time you cut the spiral, you weaken its power. Each time you replace the excuse with movement, you strengthen your identity. Soon your default becomes action, not delay. Soon your habit becomes progress, not paralysis. That is when discipline stops being something you try to do and becomes who you are. Say it with fire: I will not be a prisoner of spirals. I will not let excuses multiply in my mind. I act. I move. I take control. Lightbulb comment below: I break the spiral to declare that you will no longer let weak thoughts own your future. Pushpin subscribe and hit the bell so every day you are reminded that spirals cannot survive where discipline lives. From now on, your identity is not hesitation. Your identity is interruption. Your identity is action. And with that action, success becomes inevitable. Fire your actions are not just things you do. Your actions are votes for who you believe you are. Every time you delay, you tell yourself you are the kind of person who avoids responsibility. Every time you keep your promise, even in the smallest way, you tell yourself you are the kind of person who can be trusted. And over time, these repeated votes shape your identity more than words ever could. The mistake most people make is thinking identity comes first and action comes later. They wait to feel like a disciplined person before acting disciplined. They wait to feel confident before acting confident. They wait to feel successful before acting successful. But the reversal is the truth: you must act the identity before you believe it. You must move like a disciplined person before your mind accepts it as reality. You cannot wait for a new identity to magically appear. You must build it brick by brick with the choices you make. So how do you fuse action with identity? Start by declaring who you want to be. Write it down in one sentence: I am disciplined. I am consistent. I do not accept excuses. Then live that statement in the smallest ways possible. If you promised 1 page, write it. If you promised 5 minutes, do it. Each action is not about the result. It is about reinforcing the identity. The result will come later. The identity is being built now. Next, speak to yourself like the person you want to be. Your inner voice is the soundtrack of your life. If it keeps repeating that you are lazy, you will act lazy. If it repeats that you are disciplined, you will act disciplined. Replace every self-sabotaging phrase with a statement of identity. Not empty affirmations, but clear truths tied to action. I keep my promises. I handle challenges. I follow through. The more you repeat it, the more natural it feels. Then, remove the separation between you and discipline. Stop saying, I need to be disciplined. Say, I am disciplined. Stop saying, I should build habits. Say, I live habits. This language matters. It eliminates the distance between who you are and who you want to be. It makes discipline inseparable from your self-image. And once identity is fused, excuses lose their grip. Because if you are disciplined, excuses are no longer options. They do not match your identity. Finally, reinforce this through reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I live my identity today? If yes, record the proof. If not, don't hide it, adjust tomorrow. This reflection is not judgment. It is reinforcement. It keeps your identity sharp. It reminds you daily that who you are is being shaped by what you do. Say it now with power, I am disciplined. I do not wait. I do not break my own word. I am the kind of person who follows through. Lightbulb comment below, I live my identity to declare that your discipline is not a temporary choice but a permanent part of who you are. Pushpin subscribe and hit the bell so you never forget that every action is a vote, every vote shapes identity, and identity determines destiny. From today forward, you do not just act disciplined, you are disciplined. Fire discipline is easy when you are full of energy, when everything is going well, when life feels light. But the true test is not in those moments. The true test is when you are tired, when your body is heavy, when your mind whispers to stop. That is where most people give in. They tell themselves they deserve a break, that one missed day won't matter, that tomorrow will be better. But those words are the breeding ground of excuses. And once you let them win in your weakest moment, they will return stronger every time. You know the feeling. You worked all day, and by evening your goals feel impossible. You plan to wake up early, but fatigue whispers, sleep longer. You want to keep your streak, but your energy is gone. This is the battlefield of fatigue, and this is where identity is truly built. Because discipline in strength is routine. Discipline in weakness is transformation. The reversal you must accept is this: discipline is not about how much energy you have. Discipline is about how you act when energy is low. Anyone can move when they feel powerful. Only the committed move when they feel weak. That is why discipline practiced in exhaustion is worth 10 times more than discipline practiced in comfort. Those are the reps that carve unshakable habits. So how do you carry discipline through fatigue? First, lower the bar but keep the promise. If you committed to an hour and you can't, do 10 minutes. If you promised 10 pages and you can't, do 1. The size doesn't matter, the follow-through does. Keeping the promise keeps the identity alive. Second, build automatic rituals. When you are tired, decision-making becomes dangerous. Don't rely on thinking. Rely on habits. Lay your workout clothes out the night before, prepare your journal on the desk, set the glass of water by your bed. These rituals remove the need for choice. You simply follow the path. Third, use the mantra of identity, I act even when I'm tired. Say it, repeat it, believe it. Every time you follow through in fatigue, you tell your brain that discipline is non-negotiable. And remember, fatigue passes but identity stays. Tomorrow you may feel rested. But the choice you made today, in your weakest moment, will echo far longer than today's tiredness. That echo becomes confidence. That echo becomes proof. That echo becomes the structure of your life. Say it now, I do not quit when I am tired. I do not surrender in low moments. I keep my word no matter how I feel. Lightbulb comment below. I act in fatigue to declare that you will not let tiredness write your story. Pushpin subscribe and hit the bell because fatigue is part of life, but excuses don't have to be. From now on, your tired days will no longer be wasted days. They will be the days that prove your discipline is real, unshakable, and permanent. Fire success is not built on occasional effort. Success is built on relentless discipline that leaves no room for excuses. You cannot half commit and expect full results. You cannot live one day with focus and the next day with drift and expect transformation. The people who rise, the people who win, the people who guarantee their future, they all share one thing: they removed excuses from their life completely. They did not negotiate with them. They eliminated them. Every excuse you keep alive becomes a seed. Plant enough seeds and your mind becomes a garden of delay. You might not see the damage in one day, but those excuses take root. They influence your actions, weaken your identity, and repeat until they own you. If you want to guarantee success, you cannot just reduce excuses, you must kill them at the root. The reversal is this: most people think success requires more resources, more luck, more talent. But the real requirement is subtraction. It's not about adding more. It's about removing what holds you back. Eliminate excuses and the path clears. Eliminate excuses and habits thrive. Eliminate excuses and discipline has space to grow. Excuses are noise. Discipline is signal. As long as the noise remains, the signal will always be drowned out. So how do you do it? First, identify the recurring lies you tell yourself. Write them down without filter. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start later. It's not the right moment. These are not truths. They are scripts you repeat. Second, challenge them. When you hear, I don't have time, answer, I make time for what matters. When you hear, I'm tired, answer, I act even in fatigue. When you hear, later, answer, now. Third, replace the habit of excuse with the habit of action. Each time you feel the excuse rise, immediately do one small action that proves it wrong. Action kills excuses faster than thought. And you must reinforce this daily. Build rituals that leave no gap for delay. Morning declarations. Midday check-ins. Evening reviews. These guardrails keep excuses from sneaking back in. Surround yourself with an environment that feeds discipline. Remove temptations, silence distractions, create systems where the easiest path is the disciplined path. The harder you make excuses to access, the weaker they become. Now say it with strength: I remove excuses from my life. I act without delay. I build habits that guarantee my success. Excuses no longer have power over me because I refuse to feed them. Lightbulb comment below. No excuses if you are done letting lies shape your destiny. Pushpin subscribe and hit the bell because this is where the drift ends and the discipline begins. From today forward, you are not someone who occasionally tries. You are someone who eliminates excuses, lies, habits, and guarantees success. Fire discipline is not meant to be a short-term tactic. It is not just something you use to finish a project, lose some weight, or push through a temporary challenge. True discipline is a lifestyle, a way of living that shapes everything you do. Until discipline becomes the fabric of your daily life, excuses will always find cracks to crawl through. Most people treat discipline like a tool they pick up when they feel inspired and put down when it becomes heavy. That is why their results are temporary. To guarantee success, you must go further. Discipline must stop being a choice you negotiate with and become the atmosphere you breathe in. Think about the difference. When discipline is an occasional tool, you fight yourself every time. You argue with your feelings, you hesitate, you debate. But when discipline becomes a lifestyle, there is no argument. You no longer ask, do I feel like it? You simply live it. Just as you don't ask if you will brush your teeth today, you no longer ask if you will honor your habits today. It is who you are. That is the transformation you must make. The reversal you must embrace is this: comfort is not your natural state. Growth is. Your brain has been tricked into believing comfort equals safety, but safety is the cage that keeps you small. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is alignment with your highest self. Every time you act with discipline, you remind yourself that your life is under your control. Every time you delay with excuses, you hand control to weakness. Discipline is freedom disguised as effort. Excuses are prison disguised as kindness. So how do you turn discipline into lifestyle? First, design your environment to make discipline the default. Remove temptations. Place triggers in sight. Surround yourself with reminders of who you are becoming. When the path of least resistance is the disciplined path, excuses have nowhere to hide. Second, attach meaning to your habits. Don't see your workout as just exercise, see it as proving your identity. Don't see your journaling as just words, see it as sharpening your clarity. Habits with meaning are unbreakable. Third, live by standards, not moods. Decide what you do daily, no matter how you feel, and protect those standards fiercely. Fourth, extend discipline to every corner of your life. Not just work, not just health. How you speak, how you rest, how you spend time. This creates harmony. And remember, lifestyle discipline does not mean rigidity. It means consistency. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be intentional. Even when you miss, you reset fast. Even when you stumble, you rise quickly. Excuses have no place because the lifestyle is already decided. You are not negotiating every day. You are simply living who you are. Say it with conviction: I live discipline as a way of life. I am not temporary. I am consistent. Excuses do not belong in my story. Habits shape me. Standards define me. Success is inevitable because discipline is not something I do, it is something I am. Lightbulb comment below: discipline is my lifestyle, to claim this shift. Pushpin subscribe and hit the bell because this journey is not about a burst of motivation. It is about creating a life where discipline is natural, excuses are gone, and success is built into the structure of your days. From today forward, you breathe discipline, you live discipline, and you rise with discipline. Fire. The outside world is always shifting. Markets rise and fall, people change their opinions, plans collapse, and unexpected challenges appear without warning. Most people allow these external changes to dictate their internal state. When things go well, they stay disciplined. When things fall apart, they abandon their standards. This is the reason why so many never achieve mastery. They confuse stability with environment. But the truth is, environment will always be unstable. The only stability you can ever depend on is the discipline you build within. You know what it feels like to get thrown off course. A sudden setback derails your focus. An unexpected demand eats your schedule. A failure makes you doubt your path. You respond by waiting for the outside world to return to calm before you act again. But calm rarely lasts, and so your discipline dies in cycles. This is the hidden cost of tying your habits to the conditions around you. You can only rise above it by reversing the pattern. The reversal is this: discipline is not a reaction to circumstances. Discipline is a decision that transcends circumstances. You don't train yourself to act only when things are stable. You train yourself to act especially when things are unstable. This is how you rise above drift. This is how you prove to yourself that no matter what changes, one thing does not: you. You are the constant. Your habits are the constant. Your discipline is the constant. So how do you keep discipline stable in an unstable world? First, anchor yourself to routines that never move. When the outside world is chaos, your morning and evening rituals become unshakable walls. Second, shrink your time horizon. Don't demand certainty for the next year. Focus on certainty for the next hour. Ask yourself, what one disciplined action can I control right now? Third, hold fast to your standards. Even if the schedule changes, even if the environment shifts, your standards must remain. Fourth, practice detachment. Stop tying your effort to the mood of the day. Tie it only to your choice of identity. You don't act because the day is good or bad. You act because you are disciplined. And as you do this repeatedly, the outside world loses power over you. You stop being a slave to circumstances. You stop being someone who only moves when the weather is perfect. You become someone who creates momentum even in storms. That identity is unbreakable. That discipline is permanent. Say it now with fire, I am the constant. My discipline does not change with the world. My habits do not bow to circumstances. I choose to act no matter what. Lightbulb comment below, I am the constant to declare that you will no longer let instability control you. Push pin subscribe and hit the bell because every day you will face changes, but from today forward you will be the one who does not change. The world may shift, but your discipline will remain, and that is why your success is guaranteed. Fire every habit you repeat today is not just shaping your day. It is building your future. Most people fail because they disconnect the present from the long-term vision. They think their daily choices are too small to matter. They say, it's just one skipped workout, or it's just one missed session, or it's just one distraction. But nothing is ever just one. Every small choice is a brick. And those bricks, laid daily, are either building a bridge toward your vision or a wall that blocks it. You already know what drift feels like. You start with excitement, then your energy fades, then the urgent crowds out the important, and soon weeks are gone. You tell yourself you'll get back on track, but the longer you drift, the heavier it feels. What is missing is not more motivation, it is connection. You forgot why the daily discipline matters. You forgot that the small things are not small. They are everything. The reversal is this, your future is not built in the future. Your future is built right now. Every habit you practice today is a vote for the person you want to be 10 years from now. You cannot expect to live like a champion later if you train like a drifter today. The bridge is built in advance. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is closed with daily discipline, not someday discipline. So how do you tie your habits to your vision? First, get brutally clear about where you are going. Write down the picture of your future self, the disciplined, successful, unstoppable version of you. Second, assign habits to that vision. Ask, what does that version of me do every morning, every evening, every time excuses appear? Third, align your daily standards with that image. Each time you are tempted to drift, ask, does this choice match my vision or betray it? Fourth, track the connection. Write down not just what you did today but how it moved you closer to the vision. This rewires your brain to see discipline not as a burden but as a bridge. And when setbacks come, remember this, a broken day does not mean a broken future. One slip is not the end. What matters is that you repair quickly. The faster you return to the habit, the stronger the bridge becomes. Success is never about perfection. It is about alignment. You will not always feel powerful, but you can always choose the action that aligns with your vision. Say it now with clarity, I build my future today. My habits are not random. They are the bridge to my success. Excuses will not build my bridge. Only discipline will. Lightbulb comment below, I build my bridge if you are ready to tie every action to your long-term vision. Push pin subscribe and hit the bell so you are reminded daily that your success is not somewhere in the distance. It is being built in the present. From now on, every choice, every habit, every disciplined act will become the foundation of the life you are destined to live. Fire, this is the moment where all hesitation ends. You have walked through the battlefield of excuses, you have faced the storms of chaos, you have learned to stack wins, to break spirals, to tie your actions to identity, to anchor discipline inside fatigue. Now the path is clear. Excuses are no longer small inconveniences in your life. They are enemies that have stolen too much from you already. And today, you declare war. No more hiding behind comfort. No more waiting for motivation. No more lying to yourself about tomorrow. Tomorrow is not promised. Only today is. Only now is. And the person you want to be, the strong, disciplined, successful version of you, is not waiting in the future. That person is built in this very moment by the choices you make. The reversal is final. Success is not for the lucky, not for the chosen, not for the privileged. Success belongs to the disciplined. Excuses belong to everyone else. The world is split between those who drift and those who decide. You are done drifting. You are done giving power to weakness. You are done repeating old stories that never served you. So here is the vow. You will rise each day with clarity. You will protect your mind from noise. You will act even when tired. You will reject spirals before they grow. You will shrink the distance between thought and action until delay dies. You will stack wins until your confidence is undeniable. You will live standards, not moods. And you will build the identity of someone who cannot be stopped because they no longer negotiate with excuses. Say it now with full conviction: I choose discipline. I choose habits that guarantee success. I choose to live by action, not by feelings. Excuses are dead to me. From this moment forward, every day, every choice, every action is proof of my destiny. Lightbulb comment below, no more excuses, to seal this chapter with your declaration. Pushpin subscribe and hit the bell because this is not the end, it is the beginning. The beginning of a life built on discipline, a life fueled by habits, a life where success is not optional but inevitable. Backhand index pointing right. Remember this final truth: you do not rise when life makes it easy. You rise when you decide. And you have decided. From now on, no more excuses. From now on, only discipline. From now on, success is guaranteed.